As WFD in the year 2023, we went to 6 different countries in the southern parts of Africa, where we held physical trainings with deaf women. These countries were Botswana, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Namibia, with the training focusing on human rights with respect to deaf women. As WFD, we have done a couple of capacity building programs that we can scale up to you with your partnership. Next slide. This is a quick summary of WFD activities to date. Last year, WFD was part of a research carried out in Bolivia. The research looked at the barriers that indigenous deaf women encounter when accessing healthcare services. What is working and what is not. The data collected was crucial to us as it supported our advocacy effort at global level while also enabling national level advocacy that is data-driven. Next slide, please. If you wish to access the full report, you can scan the QR code or visit our website. Next slide, please. Now for the next part, allow me to welcome my... Thank you. As you can see, WFD has had quite a number of engagements, from trainings to research, and they don't stop there. We have more coming up. Now, the next presentation by my colleague again aims at informing you of the existing legal instruments that are crucial to national level advocacy. So, welcome back. In 1948, the United Nations adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This was the inaugural foundational human rights framework consisting of 30 articles. And it is from this foundational human rights framework that numerous instruments were developed to expand its principles. We are going to explain this universal convention next. And we had women involved. The lady in the photo is the wife to the former president of the United States of America, Eleanor Roosevelt. However, she was not the only one there. There were other 5 women who were involved. If you check the UN website, you will get to see them listed in relationship to issues of discrimination, equality, social protection, and many more. Wow, it's amazing that we had women involved 77 years ago. We actually did the math, and it was 77 years ago when the Declaration of Foundational Human Rights was done. Next slide, please. Next slide. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights has inspired a series of international human rights treaties. 9 of them actually, with the most recent one being the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, UNCRPD. As you can see, there are quite a number, including the Convention on Rights of the Child. However, I'm not going to speak to all of them. Instead, I will zoom in into the one highlighted in purple. So the purple icon on the screen will be the subject of focus for now. The instrument is known as CEDAW, CEDAW. And let's go to the next slide to see what it's all about. Next slide, please. The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women was adopted in the year 1979. This international convention targets to eliminate discrimination against women and girls, and also promote equal rights for women and girls. The convention is built on three foundational principles, that is, non-discrimination. Secondly, the state obligation on non-discrimination. And thirdly, substantive equality. This means it should not be selective equality, but rather consistent in the application of equality principles. And those are the three foundational principles. Next slide, please. CEDAW has a monitoring committee, as it is the case with the CRPD, where the committee is mandated to receive national reports from state parties every 4 years. So CEDAW has a committee that reviews national reports on women-related issues from state parties. The committee looks at the foundation principles of non-discrimination, substantive equality, amongst others. The current chair of CEDAW Monitoring Committee is a woman with disability from Spain. She is called Ms. Ana Palez. Meaning we as persons with disability, deaf included, are not limited to CRPD committee. We can also be part of other monitoring committee, be it Committee on Rights of Children, Convention on Rights of Women, and many others. Therefore, I want to encourage you to be part of this in the future. For sure, deaf women can. Next slide, please. Now, CEDAW was adopted in 1979, quite a long time ago, and it has been in application to date. However, the latest convention, UNCRPD, was adopted in the year 2006, that is 19 years ago, and most of your countries have ratified this into law. The Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability mainly looks at the intersectionality of gender and disability. It also highlights women with disability as victims of multiple discrimination. The CRPD also calls for government to take measures that will ensure full development, advancement, and empowerment of persons with disability. The intersectionality of gender and disability with respect to deaf women encompasses the issue of deaf women as a linguistic and cultural minority, issues of gender, and issues of disability. Currently, the CRPD committee has a deaf committee member from Japan. You may actually know him. He is called Hiroshi Tamon. Hiroshi Tamon is from Japan. When nominations from state parties were being reviewed, the deaf person was successfully selected, and we are happy for that achievement. For someone who is wondering, how can one get to be a member of a UN committee? So the process starts with a nomination from state parties. Your country will nominate you. Then it will go to election during the UN General Meeting. And the same process applies to all UN committees. So if within your country you have someone who you think will be a good representative within any UN committee, please contact WFD and we will guide you through the process. Next slide, please. CEDAW committee has a periodic report review framework where it receives report from the state and also an alternative report from non-governmental organization as a shuttle report. The committee will review and do comparative analysis between the two reports provided. However, we have noted that in this report, there has been fewer information about the deaf women, both by state and by the civil society organization. So let's push for that. It is also important to note that CEDAW has tools of advocacy that will be instrumental in your advocacy journey on issues related to deaf women, from discrimination and all matters pertaining the lives of a deaf woman. You can find this both in CEDAW and at the UN CRPD committee. Next slide, please. Next, we're going to look at the UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability. This convention has numerous articles, more than what we have presented here. If you can just enlarge the presentation a little bit. Thank you. It has more articles speaking to different issues, and it's available in multiple languages that you are able to access, mostly in your language of preference. Next slide, please. Even though the Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability was the last convention to be adopted by the UN, it has been ratified by more state members than any previous legal instrument. I believe more than 181 states have adopted this into law, which is wonderful. The Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability also has general comments. For instance, the general comment number 3 of the year 2016 on women and girls with disability. This comment gives clarity on human rights provisions in relationship to women and girls with disability. There is also the general comment number 6 of the year 2018 that speaks on equality and non-discrimination. This also provides definition of complex issues on this matter, which is crucial for all of us to know. Next slide, please. Next, we are going to look at other relevant international frameworks. For instance, Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goal. If you zoom in to agenda number 5, that speaks to gender equality. The agenda stipulates an aim of ending all form of discrimination, violence, and harmful practices against women and girls, and promote full and effective participation as a prerequisite for sustainable development. What is important to note is that your government has a commitment towards the achievement of these sustainable development goals. So you can monitor in your state what is the progress towards this achievement and lobby. Do follow-ups to accelerate the achievement of the sustainable development goals. It's a good document to read, but important to use it as a tool of monitoring of the progress towards achievement of these goals. Next slide, please. So beyond the instruments that are available at the UN level, for instance, the United Nations conventions, we also have other international frameworks that are important. For instance, we have the Beijing Plus 30 Global Forum, which provides a global platform for review of progress. This forum happens after every 5 years, and during the forum, there is a review of progress on issues related to women, including women with disability in different regions. In the recent Beijing Plus 30 Global Forum, we saw participation of deaf women in the forum, in the discussion, which was a commendable effort. It is important that your associations also take part in these global forums. We also have the United Nations Women's Strategy on Gender Equality and Disability Inclusion 2022 to 2025. This strategy is also important because it highlights key issues of priority on matters, for instance, economical empowerment. And this can be a good guide for you to go through and strategize your approach. So beyond the global level, at the regional, continental level, there are also other international frameworks that are significant, which have been contextualized to the specific regions. For instance, in Africa, we have the African Union Protocol on Women's Rights. This protocol has been contextualized to issues within Africa, and you can use it as a tool of advocacy. In Asia Pacific, we have the UNESCO running from 2023 to, I'm not sure about the end year, but the UNESCO focuses on strategic priority issues within the Asia Pacific region on matters of women and persons with disability. And they always have review meetings on progress on issues of women and persons with disability. So it's important to look at these instruments that are available within your region. In Europe, there also is the European Commission on Gender Equality Strategy 2020 to 2025. So again, it's important for you to look at this instrument and align your strategic framework to this instrument. Next slide, please. Now, having looked at the different instruments that we have which can guide our journey towards attainment of areas of priority, from the United Nations conventions to different international instruments available, next you're going to look at